Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube Astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the first decan of Aquarius, which is between 0 to 9.59 degrees. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Well, 0.59, I just want to elaborate and expound on that. I'm talking about minutes of arc, of course. Now, the ruler is Saturn and Uranus. Co-rulers, I should say, Saturn and Uranus both rule Aquarius, and the sub-rulers are the same as Saturn and Uranus. And this could give very emphasized Aquarius energy. As far as the appearance goes, can be tall, can be a very long type of look, and the hair may be dark. The visage, the appearance can be squarish, a very broad jawline, and the person can be very eccentric, unpredictable, selfless, altruistic, considerate, unobtrusive, and I would say of all the Aquarian decans, this one can be the most, independent and freedom-oriented of them. Now, this is also looking at this, could have the most innovative ability out of the Aquarian decans. This person may pursue, Aquarius endeavors, including astronomy, computers, astrology, meteorology, innovation, and aviation with strong powers of concentration. Because, you have the Saturn influence, not just with the ruler, but the sub-ruler, and Saturn is connecting with concentration. This is a person, too, that may really, desire, their friends and people they're acquainted with to be very loyal and steadfast, but at the same time, want, they want their own time, for freedom as well. And Aquarius is very paradoxical, and the energy is even more emphasized when you're talking about being in the first decan, because again, it's basically essentially a double dose of Aquarius energy. And this could be a person that can become incensed if somebody tries to inhibit or limit their independence and freedom. This is where domineering types need not apply to these people, because this person, really, they have the very strong and powerful, freedom urge, being basically, double Aquarius in a way, having Aquarius in the first decan in their chart. It's interesting how, I've talked about in previous videos how you have, actors and actresses, whether, consciously or subconsciously, seem to be drawn to roles that correspond with their astrological energies. Some of you may remember Richard Dean Anderson, who played MacGyver. I believe he had his Aquarius sun in this decan, and he always had some innovative ideas, to get out of situations. In real life, he has Gemini rising, so he was able to use these innovative, ideas to outmaneuver and outsmart others, which is Gemini, and really is a Gemini rising flavoring. And it just goes to show you how uncanny that really is. Again, how we, how again you're talking about actors and actresses that just, they constantly gravitate toward these roles that correspond with the astrological, energies, characteristics or what have you. Now, the thing about this is too, and I've talked about in previous videos as well, that it's important to look for, contraindicators, modifying influences in the chart, because you don't isolate any one particular astrological element or placement or position or aspect and make an analysis of it, because we're the sum of all the components in the chart, not just one. So when you look at this, you're talking about Aquarius being, that universal friend, being very amiable, friendly. But you have to, understand too, it's also important to look at, you know, um, again, the contraindicators, modifying influences in the chart. And let's say, for example, if you have your sun in the first decan of Aquarius, but you have, preponderance of planets on the bottom half of the chart and or more introverted ascendant, that could modify things strongly. Somebody that has this, say, they have the Aquarius, sun. They have their sun in the first decan of Aquarius, but let's say they have the majority of the planets on the bottom half of the chart and or more introverted ascendant like Cancer or Pisces. This person, may be a little bit, at least a little bit more, introverted, more to his or herself than the typical person that has, the Aquarius, the sun in the first decan of Aquarius. So it is very, important to look at everything in the chart. Now, Aquarius, is very, very clear. Their reasoning power, can speak in a very perspicacious and lucid manner. And, if you have this, let's say you have this, and especially like Mercury in Aquarius as well, you can be very, very readily understood, when you speak to others. And this is really, having this first decan, of Aquarius, it's basically the person's, motto is basically like live and let live. Allow me to be, Mr. or Mrs. Eccentric, non-conforming, but at the same time, I can tolerate you and your idiosyncrasies, but you've got to be willing to put up with mine. If you like them, they could be basically like, if you like me, that's okay, but if you don't, I can live with it. You either want to live with me or live without me. I'm not going to care or worry about it one way or the other. These people can be very non-conforming, and also being able to, really, express their ideas again in a very clear and perspicacious manner. And, Aquarius, as I stated before, could be very paradoxical. This could be a person that could be very, strongly progressive, future-oriented, and open to new ideas, but can also be very rigid and intransigent as well. This decan of Aquarius is the most fixed of the decans, because you have, Aquarius, the first decan, the sub sign is Aquarius as well, being a fixed sign. You have the second decan of Aquarius in Gemini, which is a mutable sign. Then the third decan of Aquarius is Libra, which is a cardinal sign. So this one is the most, fixed and rigid of the two, decans. And again, I talk about, contraindicators and modifying influences in the chart. Let's say you have, your sun is in, Aquarius in this first decan, right? But if your Mercury is in Capricorn, your thinking may be a little bit more conventional and orthodox, than the typical Aquarius. Mercury in Capricorn, even though Capricorn is a cardinal sign, Mercury in Cap can be, rigid and intransigent in their thinking, though, as well. And, the intellect can be disciplined, but at the same time may lack, ingenuity. So there, it's very important to look at all, the different elements in the chart, when you're making analysis on a person, astrologically speaking. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.